So we're working on this painting, and right now I'm going to be working on the mountains, because if you look at the painting, I've done my clouds, and now I'm ready to add some mountain tops in here. The first thing you need to do is mix your colors ahead of time. So I've mixed a lot of my colors right here. If you don't know if a color is going to look good, you can always grab it on the back of your palette knife and hold it up to your painting. Don't touch your painting, but hold it up, and if it looks pretty good, you're good to go. And I'm going to decide too, like, where my first peak is. So I'm going to guess my first peak is going to go somewhere in here. Okay, so I'm kind of following this right now. I'm going to be using this palette knife as opposed to the other ones, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this and I'm going to end up just kind of scraping it along the top on here and scraping it the other way too. So we'll see how that looks like. So I'm going to grab some paint. I'm going to grab my light color first. And if I'm scraping this way, then I want the paint on this side. If I'm scraping this way, I want the paint on the other side. I'm just going to get some paint on here. And I'm just going to start by finding where I want my mountain peak. And I'm just going to start kind of bringing it down. And maybe there's a peak here. I'm just going to start kind of filling it in with color. So I'm going to start pulling the other way now. I'm just kind of going along here. And I'm just going to kind of smooth it out. And now I have a couple mountain peaks here that I'm going to do. Wipe that up. I don't really care about that because that's going to get covered with our middle ground and foreground. I'm just going to kind of let that go. You don't want to pull it too hard across the painting, because you don't want anything below it to come up. And before I got started, I did myself a little sketch. I said, okay, how do I want to do this? So I actually did a sketch in paint first. There's my sketch. So all I did was the highlights, these kind of yellowish white areas. Now I'm going to come in and do the dark areas. You're going to want to wipe frequently because you're blending now. These also have a smaller tip on them, so you can use that for smaller areas. So I can come in here now with a smaller area. So I can take a dry brush now and I can come in here and kind of haze out some of this stuff. Or I want to kind of blend it a little more. And I'm going to go over this again because once again, painting is a bunch of layering. I'm just going to kind of blend some of this out. I'm going to take a wide brush now and just come in here and just kind of dot some of this. With this, you need to constantly reload your brush. Remember, with paint, you're just making marks. You're not really drawing anything. You're just making a bunch of marks that when you step back from it, tends to look like what you're looking at. So I'm not really worried too much about like how well this looks up close. I'm always saying step back from your work, step back from your work. And this is definitely one of those times where if it seems like the paint's a little too thick and you want to wait to add some of these details, because like I have some areas in here that are a little too thick, then that's okay. I'm just going to let it dry that way, and I will come back to it later. Now that I look at it, this seems really, really yellow. So I think I'm going to come in here, once it's dry though, it's too wet right now, and redo this whole area in here because it's just too yellow to me. I don't mind it so much yellow up here, but it's very white. It needs to be whiter down here. See, even I have some second thoughts on some of the stuff I'm working on here. I'm like, you know, it's just not working the way I like it. I also think I want to make this a little darker over here.